Do you sometimes feel like you're juggling too many things in your life? Things like your career, family, friendships, finances, or maybe even the anxious situation you woke up thinking about this morning? Hi, I'm Chris Godfredson with the Brimstone Coaching Group, and we understand how overwhelming these feelings can be. And we believe that the first step toward your personal transformation is taking time to reflect on what's really going on. That's why we offer you a free personal assessment to help you evaluate these key areas of your life. Areas like your work, relationships, and what may be causing you anxiety and holding you back. Our easy-to-use assessment is designed to help you reflect on those challenges and to guide you towards a life of contentment, fulfillment, and wholeness. Download your free personal assessment today at brimstonecoachinggroup.com to start your journey toward reflection and transformation. Again, visit brimstonecoachinggroup.com to request your copy today. Hey friends, Chris Godfredson here with the Brimstone Coaching Group, and you pushed play on the Brimstone Coaching Podcast. Thanks for doing it. I'm here today with my friend and co-founder and partner, Kurt Busch. Kurt, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Chris. I'm really good. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it is. It's always a blast to get to talk about the things that we think about. And
Yeah.
Today, we are going to have I intend for us to have a conversation around the idea of coaching
Yeah.
and why having a coach really even matters. And I think before I ask you a question, because I just want to ask you all the questions, when you bat leadoff, you get to ask all the
Yeah.
questions, right?
Dang
Isn't that
it.
something?
Yeah. Why
You're
do I
really good at.
ever,
I think you're always batting leadoff, so I
yeah,
get
why do
stuck
I ever
answering the
let you do
questions.
this? Why do
I'm
I
not
ever let
sure.
you do this?
I don't know either. You're the pod king, and you gave up control today. Thanks for doing it.
Never
Uh,
again.
That's fair. I uh, I remember being hired into a new position,
Yeah.
and one of the things that was given to me as a gift, I think, was a coach. And this guy, his name is Roger Price. I'll drop his name.
Mm.
Roger was the coach of the coaches.
Yeah.
He was coach par excellence.
Yeah.
And that guy uh, was willing to be my coach.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was life-changing experience for me, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's a whole lot I want to say about that maybe I'll say at some point in
Yeah.
this conversation. But
Yeah.
rather than just because somebody told me I had to have a coach, what what's the value? Why have you engaged coaching, and why do you think it matters?
Yeah. Good question. Can I say something about Roger Price?
Oh yeah.
And then I'll answer your question. I promise.
Okay.
This is not a
Yeah.
tactic to get away from your question. Uh, you introduced me to Roger Price once when we were together, and we sat around a fire pit
Mm,
with Roger, you, me, Roger, and one other friend.
yeah.
And I remember this man talking about um, just some of his own story and some of the things that he knows about science and physics and
Quantum
light.
physics.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. And I just remember thinking, this is the coolest man I've ever met in my life. And
Right.
that fire that night ended far prematurely. Like
Mm,
I was not ready to be done listening. I found myself like a child listening, like,
yes.
come on, Roger, keep giving, like just you talk all night. I just want to listen.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And right. And in the midst of the all of the knowledge he was dropping, he would ask questions, and
Yeah.
he was being super curious about what we were hearing, if it made
Yeah.
sense, and all the things. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, my
Yeah.
relationship with that guy, yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the
Yeah.
best
So
ones. Yeah.
if Roger hears this, he's gonna be like, I don't know this Kurt Busch guy, but Roger,
Yeah.
top-notch conversation. Okay, so the question was, what was the value for me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Why did you engage? And why would a person, what's the benefit?
Yeah, good question. So I, like you, have a similar story where my employer approached me and said, "We would like to provide you a coach." And I would say the coach they provided for me is actually also on in the top tier of coaches that I can imagine getting to work
Yeah.
with. Um, so I think initially my response was, I don't know that I need a coach. Uh,
Yeah.
thanks, employer, but I'm not exactly sure what you expect me to do with this relationship. I'm like pretty good already if you don't know, employer.
Yeah.
That
Right.
was that
And
was kind of my posture.
what did you not know about all that?
Well, here's what I did not know. Here's what I learned really quickly is
Yeah.
that this coach, this really, really good coach, he was outside of my system. Like this
Mm,
was a person in a completely different state, that knew about my system, but was not
hmm
a part of my system. This was a person who was able to have conversation with me that challenged me to think about things differently.
mm,
This is the example that I give all the time. My early coaching sessions went something like this. Hey coach, here's what I'm working on. Here's what I need help with. Tell me how to influence this person. Tell me how to get this person to do what I want them to do. And inevitably, every single time, by the time we get to the end of the call, I'm having this realization of my impact and my role in the problem that I'm trying to solve. So
yeah.
so single-handedly, this coach was able to turn my perspective around and
Mm,
say, okay, Kurt, you can control Kurt in this situation. What can you do to help move this situation in a positive direction? Right? Um, just so good. And because he's not a part of the system, there was never a point, Chris, where this coach was like, yeah, you know what? That person really sucks.
yeah.
Like, yeah. So this
Yeah.
was really an objective voice that said, without emotion, without fusion, we would say, without being
Yeah.
connected, was able to help
Yep.
me draw the perspective to the things that I could control.
Yeah. And so I loved how you said that. Like to a person, to an experience, he would he would circle back to, in essence, I don't think you said it exactly this way, but uh, like what part are you playing? How do
Yes.
you how do you control the narrative? Why is that so important, do you think?
I mean, I think there's two reasons. I think the number one reason that I had forgotten or not seen, and I think most people forget, is that when we think about a solution or a problem to be solved, especially in leadership, we are really quick to see other people's contribution.
Mm,
But friends, there is always two things go. There is always two participants, at least two participants
yes.
in every situation that needs a solution. And I learned really quickly that I just did not know how to look at my part in keeping that
Yeah.
problem in place. Um, I think the other, gosh, what was your question again?
I
I
don't
had
know.
another
Keep
thing I
talking.
wanted to say. Um, oh yeah, the other thing, like that, me and my contribution is the only thing I can control,
Yes,
right?
sir.
I cannot change how another person thinks about a problem to be solved. I cannot change how somebody else thinks about leadership. I cannot change how anybody else is showing up in the world, but I certainly can change how I show up in the world. I certainly can adjust and tweak my thinking and my perspective in hopes of then also influencing the problem that needs a solution or
Yeah.
the sphere that I'm in, right?
Wow. Yeah.
I
That
mean,
but
what do
that's
you,
a mouthful. I mean, that's so huge to like I think most of us are just unaware,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I think that like what has been modeled for us is just behave this way or do these things and then it'll be
yeah,
okay. And if you
yeah,
don't if you, and you need to do and think and say the things that I want you to think and do and say.
yeah, yeah,
And and so there is a form of, I would call it manipulation, right? But there are ways in which I think we have been conditioned will just change their mind or change their opinion.
Yeah.
And you are responsible to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm responsible to get in line with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and I think the value, like so often, I I think about it like this. If I put my hand in front of my face, like a lot of times the problem is right there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and, and a good coach just like moves my hand out of the way to say, like yours has,
Yeah.
what part are you playing in keeping the situation alive? The
Yeah.
problem we want to say is out there, and the problem, air quotes, right? If there's a
Yeah.
problem,
Yeah.
it's in the way in which I react, respond when
Yeah.
I'm stirred up
Yeah.
or feeling anxious. And I I I think we both would hold we hold the position that a lot of times it requires a wise guide or
Yeah.
another person, to your point, outside of the system, outside of
Yeah.
our system, that can hold up the mirror and help us discover,
Yeah.
oftentimes help us discover
Yeah.
the part we are playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the highest point of leverage, right? So the
Yes.
highest point of leverage for change in any situation is me and the way
Yeah.
I'm showing up in
Yeah.
those places and spaces. And if I don't know what I don't know about that, I'm I just continue to do the things I've always done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I get the results I've always gotten, and there's a word for that.
Yep. It's insanity.
It is.
What might you say? So you asked me the question of what I learned about the value. What would you want to say about the process of engaging with Roger? How did it go from, okay, my employer's providing this to like now I'm really seeing a ton of value in this? Like what was that process like for you?
Well, I think it was slow and it happened over time.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
for a while, it was okay. I'm just checking boxes off
Yeah.
of the like the to-do list. I had plenty of things to do, and this was
Yeah.
another check the box.
Yeah.
And it was probably a few months into the relationship, so I think we met monthly, and so I'm 6, 7 months in, and all of a sudden is like, oh, like I'm starting to behave a little bit differently,
Yeah.
and I could see myself a little bit more clearly. I could understand the part that I, that my reactivity had in
Yeah.
relationships. And and then we talk about this with each other. We probably have talked about it in a pod somewhere along the line, but like then all of a sudden I had some agency, and now
Yeah.
I get to make a decision about, do I want to keep doing that, or is there
Yeah.
another way that I can show up in this relationship or this
Yeah.
scenario? And and like that was the beginning. It was really the beginning of uh, a great awakening for me about
Yeah.
myself, and then it was uh, future coaches who really helped unlock so many of those things for me. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
More and more people just started like moving the hand from in front of my face and helping me. Interestingly enough, is like then I started to see myself more clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I I don't know. I'm really struck. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about the contrast of this analogy of pulling the hand away from your face. The contrast between that and this sort of mental model that says, "Hey, do these steps and do them well, and you'll be an effective leader or an effective parent or an effective whatever." Like the contrast of those two postures that says, a coach, I'm going to help you remove this and I'm going to show you something or help you see some things
Hmm.
versus, you know what, if you do these steps and it doesn't work, what's wrong with you? Right.
Yeah.
I,
Yep.
I just, I think the posture of those is uh, such a different thing to take in. Right. the
I love the
gentleness.
question. Mhm.
Yeah,
I,
go
I
ahead.
love the question, the gentleness. I mean, yes, and here's what I want to say about that. Like the question is, what's wrong with you if you do these things and they don't work?
Yeah.
Is here's what I think is true. Like I get I have been able to see me
Yeah.
and who I am and how I am,
Yes.
and through time discover why I do the things I do when I do the things I do. And
Yeah.
so it's not just like removing the hand from in front of my face. I mean, I was thinking about this even as I was listening to you talk. Do you ever really look at yourself in the mirror
Mm.
when you're combing your hair? I mean, that finely coiffed head of hair you've got there.
I
Uh,
do look at my hair a lot in the mirror, mostly just
yeah.
hairline up.
Yeah, right. And so like I think this morning it did happen for me. Like I looked at myself in the mirror in a way that I normally don't.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why I did that this morning because I can't answer that question, but it's true.
Yeah.
And and I think that really is the gift of a
Yeah.
coach, is it's not just moving the hand, but it's like holding up the mirror, and it
Man,
and it's
yeah.
and it's an invitation to say like that, there's nothing, you are not bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
and take a real close look and at who you are and how you are and why you, and as we begin to discover those things, that's what happens in the work of coaching is
Yeah.
we don't, you and I mean we have some tools and resources, right, whereby we'll teach some theory and
Yeah.
some approaches, but ultimately, like as we do our coaching work, our clients get to dictate the things that they think that they need to work on, and then over time we might discover together
Yeah.
that maybe that's not the thing, there's a thing behind or under the thing
Yeah.
that you're looking at, but that happens over time, as you know, in my case, as I was working with the coach, as I was discovering things. So
Yeah.
the coach would ask a well-timed, thoughtful,
Yeah.
probing question
Yeah.
that I can't think about or see because I'm immersed in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good, Chris. I think I want to let that sit just a little bit.
Mm,
Let's take a little break. I want to let that resonate just a little bit because
mm,
you said a lot. So
mm.
let me pause us and we'll be right back. Hi, my name's Kurt Busch and I'm from the Brimstone Coaching Group. Let me ask you a question. Do you often feel overwhelmed by anxiety and stress? If so, know that you are not alone. And I want you to know that we are here to help you. Our free guide called How to Manage Your Anxiety offers practical advice and will give you actionable strategies to help you manage your anxiety and start living a more balanced life even today. At Brimstone Coaching Group, we understand how chronic anxiety can keep you stuck and how it can keep you feeling exhausted. And we understand because we've been there. And our free guide will help you identify the root causes of your anxiety and will give you tools to begin to create lasting change in your life. Imagine with me a version of your life where you can finally begin to feel things like contentment, fulfillment, and wholeness. So don't wait. Visit brimstonecoachinggroup.com right now to download your free guide. I want to invite you to start your journey towards a calmer, more fulfilled you right now, today. Once again, you can find this free guide at brimstonecoachinggroup.com. Well, welcome back, everybody. Again, Kurt Busch here with my friend and partner, Chris Godfredson for the Brimstone Coaching Group. Chris, I want to just tell you, can I tell you a quick story?
Please, I love your stories.
I think if the announcing thing doesn't work out, I'll just like branch off into some storytelling.
Yeah, be a storyteller.
Yeah,
A
it sounds
little
great.
a little beatnik. Can we
Yeah.
find a little beatnik bar and you could do your thing?
I listen to some story podcasts and they're quite
Oh,
fascinating how people tell stories.
yeah.
Anyway, so you know this, maybe some listeners know this, but if you don't, listener, I worked for a long time in a manufacturing setting. I was a production supervisor for a little bit, also an HR generalist for a little bit. But every
Mm,
year, this company I worked for would invite all of the salaried staff into a developmental process, into a learning process. And I'm making it sound more formal than it was. It was really a salaried staff meeting once a month that
mhm,
included a book or some
mm,
some book studies, right? And every year, it was going through some sort of book on leadership.
mm.
I think one of the, I'm going to get the titles wrong and I don't want to throw shade, but one was like the 21 habits of whatever, or it was always a number, like
Yeah.
always a
Do
do
these
these
7 things or these 21 things? I can't
20,
remember
one of them was
one thing,
21
bruh.
things. I
Yeah.
know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
So it was always this, and I get it. Like this is the mental model, right?
Yeah.
I know now that this was not anybody doing this on purpose. Like they genuinely believe this was gonna make us all better
Hmm.
leaders. Here's the problem, Chris. Those never took for me. Uh,
Mm,
I I honestly I can look back now and say I really did not grow by trying to do these 21 steps or whatever it was, or I didn't grow to the
hmm.
point that the company hoped I was going to grow. Because under all of that, I'm still doing the things I do when I do the things that I do, right? I'm
Yeah.
still hiding my insecurities. I'm
Mm.
still feeling like I'm going to be found out. I still feel like I have to fake it till I make it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, is it possible that you're being invited to become the author rather than to become fully you?
Yes, I think that is so well said. Yes.
And I think ultimately, isn't isn't it the world doesn't need another Chris Godfredson. The world needs Kurt Busch and Jim and all the others, right?
Yeah.
We're being fully us.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a good Kurt.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be a good Chris.
No, right? And the world misses out. And if we're just trying to be so understanding ourselves
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah.
and more fully is what happens when we engage the work of coaching. And when you have a coach who is like trying to help you discover who and what you are, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it. That's why for me that's why a coach provides so much value.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we, maybe we're being a little modest here, Chris. Brimstone Coaching Group, we do this work and our hearts beat for this work. We
Hmm.
desire, uh, every person we work with and every group we work with might be more whole in the places they are and might be more
Yeah.
fully themselves in the
Hmm.
places they are. Um,
That's right.
how let's assume for a second the listener says, "Hey, I want to get in touch. I want to take a first step with Brimstone Coaching Group. What does that look like? Where would you send them?"
It's a great question. Well, to our website, www.brimstonecoachinggroup.com, and then you are free to schedule a free initial inquiry call with either one of us, with Kurt or with me. And in that, when you do that, that will trigger an email from us with a personal assessment. And in that
Yeah,
personal assessment, we invite you to take a look at your life from a personal relationship standpoint, from your career, from maybe it's finances, recreation, your faith, whatever, there. We are a person
Yeah.
with a life to live. And then there are lots of things that
Yeah.
encompass our life. And
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
believe to be true is that like all of those areas play a part in the way we show up in the world.
Yeah.
And so you get to decide that maybe you're a CEO and you're killing it 90 hours a week, but your relationships are a struggle,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
home life is a struggle. And so, like, let's talk about that, because the strength of those relationships impact all of the things you do professionally. So,
Yeah.
the personal assessment is a way of highlighting for us the potential areas to focus on,
Yeah.
and then we can agree on that, and we'll chart a course based on your assessment.
Yeah.
We won't tell you do these 7 things and then this
Yeah.
will happen. You get to have a voice and a say by taking an intentional look at yourself,
Yeah.
and then together we'll we go down a path.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm present to the reality that there could be a listener hearing this saying, no, but I want you to tell me what to do. Um, y-
Yeah,
y- and I think that's fair because I think you said it earlier. We've just been ingrained
yeah.
that someone is going to tell us what to do. That's how we grow as a leader or
Hmm.
as a,
Yep.
as a whatever we are in the spaces we are. I'm sitting here feeling like, gosh, I am so glad that wasn't my story. I'm so glad a coach invested in me and my employer invested in me in a process of getting to learn who I am versus telling me what to do.
Yeah.
So good. I maybe just want to, can I plug one more thing?
Yeah.
Is that okay? I think there's a common thread that you and I have both shared, and it's this. Our employers provided coaches for us.
Yeah.
That was not a zero investment.
Right.
There was a financial investment that, frankly, our coaches were more of a financial investment than Brimstone Coaching would be for employers at this stage in the game.
Exactly. Isn't that
Um,
right?
yeah, that is right. So I think what we want to hold up is to say to employers or to say to people who have people that report to them in the workplace, we want to encourage you to invest in your employees,
Yeah.
and maybe just maybe that investment looks like a relationship with Brimstone Coaching Group with us as coaches that can help do exactly what we've been talking about this entire
Yeah.
episode.
That's right. I mean, yeah, I'm going to resist the urge to create another podcast right here and right now. But
Thanks.
it is employers, leaders, managers investing in your people will have exponential
Yeah.
returns in productivity, in profit margins, etc. It just does the
Yeah.
maths.
Yeah. I mean, you and I were better leaders with a
Mm,
coach.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Understanding who we are and how we are and why we do the things we do when we do the things we do has made me infinitely more valuable in all the places I find myself. So
Yeah.
the same is true for
Yeah.
each and every one of us.
Yep. So if you're an employer or a manager or a supervisor, you can schedule an inquiry call and talk to us about how we can partner with
Yeah,
your employees. So that process would look the same whether you are seeking a coach or you are seeking to invest in your people through Brimstone.
100%.
Chris, thanks for this. I super love recording these things with you.
Hmm.
Thanks for doing it with me.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. And I learn something every time we do this. I mean, something new is we continue to discover things, and I think that is
Yeah.
pretty. I think it's pretty beautiful. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for the
Same.
conversation again.
Yeah. Until next time.